everybody, Cinema Sickness here with your daily sickness video, and happy Thursday to each and every one of you. And I absolutely always hope you guys are having a fantastic week and hope you're having a great day. So we're going to dive right into today's daily sickness video because I got some reviews for you. Got a whole bunch of stuff here to take a look at. So let's just get right down to it and get through this as quickly as possible, although we all know that never really happens. All right, so first tale up is Hyde on Hudson. This is a movie that I can't physically hold up and show you as I only have a digital copy of it, but really enjoyed this one. It's all about FDR during right before World War II, right before we got really involved with it and went over to help Europe and whatnot. And the King of England had to come over here and basically talk to FDR and kind of say, hey, we need your help. Could you help us out? And it was the famous picnic that they had where FDR invited the King and Queen of England to eat hot dogs and whatnot. It was this whole big hullabaloo. I'm sure many of you probably learned about it in elementary school, at least most of you. I don't know, maybe those of you in England and those of you over here in the United States, I'm sure you've learned about it. I remember learning about it when I was a kid. So all about that time period. Also, of course, talks much about how FDR was a bit of a, in modern terms, let's say, player. A playa. He definitely had his way with the ladies. Definitely had many mistresses. Even hinted a bit at his wife, the possibility of her being a lesbian. I've seen documentaries on that. I know it's, was she not, who knows, but they did hint at that a little bit. And he actually, this revolves around a lot about him and his relationship he had with his cousin. Now, it was a cousin, like third or fourth or fifth cousin or something like that, so far enough away that it wasn't too creepy. I mean, it is what it is, but still, at least far enough away that it wasn't like really disturbing. But so he had a relationship with her, and then he had a relationship with like his secretary and all these other people that he had relationships with, and it certainly talks about that. So it really focuses on his relationship with his cousin, and also this, all taking place around the beginning of World War II, right when Nazi Germany started to build up and started to attack Europe and started to attack England, and England needed our help, and the king again had to come over and get his help. And it was really interesting to watch, really enjoyed it. But what I liked most is Bill Murray plays FDR. And when the movie first started out, I was like, am I going to be able to take, it's Bill Murray. I mean, I've seen him in serious roles before, but am I going to be able to really take him seriously as FDR? And at first it kind of starts off a little like, you're like, okay, this is Bill Murray I'm watching here. But about like 10 minutes in the movie, he's doing such a good job playing the character, you completely forget that you're watching Bill Murray. You're watching FDR. He does a fantastic job. Just really goes to show you, Bill Murray, he's a great actor. I mean, yes, he's a very funny comedian, and he does great comedic roles, but he's really, really good at playing a serious role as well. And even playing somebody like FDR, even playing a character like FDR, he's fantastic at it. So I love the movie. Thought it was great. Would definitely recommend checking it out. It's kind of like a biography, sort of history, sort of historical sort of movie going on. I mean, it's got its history, but it's also a bit of a biopic as well. So Hyde on Hudson, definitely worth checking out. Great FDR movie. I'd recommend it. And then I checked out a movie I was definitely excited about. Win-Win. This was great. Of course it was. It stars Paul Giamatti, who's the greatest actor in all of history. I don't care what you say. He's my favorite actor. I love him. I will see any movie starring the great Paul Giamatti. And this was another good one. Really enjoyed this. All about, I don't want to give too much away, but all about Paul Giamatti. He has his business, and it's not doing so well. And he ends up taking on taking the role of like caretaker of this old man, and his theory is he's just going to take this old man, be his caretaker, say, oh yeah, I'll let him live at home, I'll take care of him, but then just shove him in a nursing home because he's going to lie to the guy and say, oh yeah, the court said he had to go here, and get the money that comes in every month. I think it's like $1,500, something like that comes in every month to take care of this guy when he's really not taking care of him. He's letting the home do it, which I would just like to say I don't really understand, because I have a I have a grandmother who's in a nursing home, and I'm the one who takes care of my grandmother. So I know how much it costs to put somebody in a nursing home. It's not cheap. It's very expensive. And I'm only assuming they're paying for this out of pocket, because if they were paying for it through like Social Security or something like that, I don't think that would work because there's bills, there's records. Somebody would find out about this. You couldn't keep this a secret. So I know it's a movie. I know I'm looking too much into it, but as somebody who has a grandmother in a nursing home, I was like, I don't see how this is quite working out. But anyway, so that's his whole plan. Put the old man in a nursing home, even though he's supposed to be his caretaker, and just take the money that he gets every month for taking care of him and just pocket it basically because his business isn't doing so well. He needs the money. This is his grand scheme. Well, unfortunately, his grandson comes to visit, and that's where things start to kind of go downhill. Grandson is a little bit of a hooligan, but he comes from kind of a bit of a broken family. His mother is a drug addict and not doing so well. The boyfriend of the mother ends up, at one point beat the kid. And that's kind of why I ran away from home. And they end up taking care of this kid because this kid just like, what are they going to do with him? They can't just let him go. And Paul Giamatti's wife's all kind of like, I don't really know about this and everything like that. But then as time goes on, she, the motherly instincts kicked in. And she's like, no, we got to take care of this kid. Got to make sure he's okay. And of course, the daughter, the mother of the kid ends up finding out where he is and coming, and everything just snowballs. And this grand scheme Paul Giamatti had sort of like blows up in his face, and it doesn't really work out so well. And of course, our young pupil here is a fantastic wrestler. And of course, Paul Giamatti is a wrestling coach. So he gets this other grand scheme to kind of enroll him in school, put him on the team, and have him wrestle. And they're going to go to the state and everything like that, and yada, yada, yada. That doesn't go so well either. So basically it's Paul Giamatti kind of doing all these things, like putting this guy into the home and putting the kid on the wrestling team and all these grand schemes he keeps coming out with, and how they keep kind of like blowing up in his face, and things just keep snowballing until it just becomes this big huge problem, and everything's got to like get rectified. And of course, in the end, everything does work out. So win-win, great movie. I love this one. See this movie. If you're like me and you're a huge Paul Giamatti fan, this is one you gotta check out. It was fantastic. All right, then I watched Ghosts of the Abyss 3D. Yes, watch this one in 3D. First time checking this movie out, definitely one I wanted to see, as I'm a huge Titanic fan. Really enjoyed it. And I'd say the only downfall is the 3D version, which is what I did watch, which looked beautiful, by the way. Unfortunately, it's only, 60 minutes? Yes, 60 minutes long. There is a 90-minute extended version, but it's not in 3D. I have not watched it yet. I'm definitely have to watch it, because this seemed really fast. It seemed to skim over stuff. Again, it's only 60 minutes long. It's only an hour long, and it really did seem to kind of just skim over everything. Like, okay, here's what we did. There you go. Bye. See you later. And I thought it really could have been longer, and when I saw that it was a 90-minute one, I was like, man, maybe I should have just said screw to 3D and watch a 90-minute one, which at some point I will get around to finally checking out. But it did look beautiful in 3D. It's great. It's all about this crew going down to the Titanic and filming it with 3D technology and all these new cameras and this new equipment they have, and all the stuff they see and all the exploration they do of the Titanic. And of course, we have Bill Paxton as well going down with them, which is really interesting. Kind of my only problem with the film / documentary was Bill Paxton, because I thought he was definitely hamming it up a bit at times. I'm not saying he wasn't scared. They're in this tiny little sub going way down to the bottom of the ocean. So yes, that's gonna be nerve-wracking. I'd be nervous too going in the sub. I mean, as safe as I might possibly be, there are all sorts of things that could go wrong. You're under this ocean, so many things could happen. It certainly would be nerve-wracking. I'd have the butterflies in my stomach. I'd probably puke, and I'd be scared crapless to do that. I would totally do it, but I'd be so scared at the same time. And I can understand Bill Paxton was scared, as this isn't, he's an actor. He doesn't go down to the bottom of the ocean very often. But I'd say the thing is like there are parts where it seemed like he was hamming it up. Like he almost seemed like he was pretending to be scared and like asking all sorts of questions. He just seemed like he was acting. That was my problem. I didn't like that. I kind of wanted to see more like his natural reaction. Definitely seemed like he was acting at certain parts. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe that's just how he is when he's scared. I don't know. But I was watching kind of giving it the stink eye a bit, thinking, I think he's acting at these parts, which wasn't really cool. But anyway, great documentary. I highly recommend checking this out. It was great. Interesting too, during the dive, they're actually diving on September 11th, 2001. So it's really interesting. There's this scene where they're down in the sub, and one of the guys, he's doing the log and stuff, and he's like, okay, September 1st, September, I can talk, September 1st, 2011, or 2001, oh, September 11th, 2001, I'm getting my dates all mixed up, September 11th, 2001, yada, yada, yada o'clock, and says what he has to say, and I'm like, whoa, like, hold on a sec, I know that date, and they come up, and Bill Paxton's there, like, oh, worst terrorist attack in American history, and blah, 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 and they decide to go on with the dive anyway, so, pretty cool, definitely check this one out. If you do see it, though, if you do not have the 3D version, watch the 90-minute extended version, I'm assuming, because, again, the 60 minutes just seemed to go way too quickly, but at the same time, it looked beautiful in 3D, so it is worth checking out in 3D. In fact, if this movie even released, well, I guess it was released on DVD. Was it released on Blu-ray, not in 3D? I'm not entirely sure about that, but check it out. All right, then, because I was in a Titanic mood, I watched Titanic, and this is pretty decent. I did enjoy this movie, not too bad. 1953, it was okay. I wasn't blown away by this one. It's really just a kind of a lover's quarrel sort of movie that takes place during the sinking of the Titanic. So, of course, you get all that greatness of, the craziness of the Titanic sinking and whatnot, but it's really this lover's quarrel, this man and woman, the woman, she kind of wants, she doesn't like how her kids are being raised. She doesn't like the hoity-toityness of them, and they're becoming snobs basically. She's not really cool with that. She wants to, she leaves her husband and sneaks aboard the Titanic. Well, sneaks aboard, but gets a ticket for the Titanic. She's gonna go back to America and go live there and live a nice rural country life. But of course, the husband, he gets aboard the Titanic, finds her, and he's gonna put a stop to the whole thing. And it's this big quarrel. But in the end, they kind of reconcile and stuff as the ship is sinking and they're going to die. So, interesting movie. I did enjoy it. There is a bombshell drop in this movie, though. I was blown away by this one part. I'm not going to give it away, but let's just say she drops quite the bombshell on him. I'm watching the movie. I'm just, I usually watch movies in silence. I don't really talk to myself or talk to the screen or anything like that. And I remember seeing them going, oh, shoot. Oh, I didn't say shoot. I'm trying to curse too much in these videos anymore. But it was like, whoa, like, okay, this just got really interesting. So check this one out. It was pretty good. I mean, it didn't blow me away, but it was definitely worth seeing. I enjoyed it. Now, one I really did enjoy, another Titanic movie, I watched A Night to Remember. Now, this one I thought this was a fantastic telling of the sinking of the Titanic. Obviously a bit of a love story as well, as all the Titanic movies are. They're all love story movies. But this one I thought was told much better. Definitely a lot better done in my opinion. And just between the two, this one definitely stands out. In fact, I'm not going to say it's better than the newer one, but it still is really good and worth checking out. The James Cameron one's fantastic, but this one's still really, really good nevertheless, and definitely this one I highly, highly recommend. If you like your Titanic movies, see this movie. It was brilliant. One of the weird things about this movie is there are actually scenes from a Nazi propaganda film. There's another Titanic movie called Titanic, and it's a Nazi propaganda film about the sinking of, it takes place from the sinking of the Titanic, and it's all about like the arrogance of Americans and British, and how like basically because of their arrogance they caused the sinking of the Titanic, and there's some like apparently Germans aboard who like rise up and help save people, and the yay Germany, boo British and Americans. It's one of those movies. So a Nazi movie, a movie made by probably not by Nazis. Nazis force people to make movies by people who weren't necessarily Nazis. So I don't know who made the movie. I don't know if whoever made the movie was a Nazi or not. But again, anyway, a Nazi movie, Adolf Hitler probably signed off on parts. Little scenes are actually in this movie, which is really weird. I found that as a little bit of weird trivia there. That certain scenes, I think it's like scenes of like the Titanic sinking, and scenes of like the Titanic, I guess leaving the dock or something like that. But it's not a lot. They're very quick, brief scenes, but still, scenes nevertheless are taken from a Nazi propaganda movie and put into this movie, which weird thing, this is a British-made movie too, a British-made film. So, you always think, America versus Germany, but really, Britain versus Germany, and even France. Europe was really the ones struggling. They were the ones getting bombed and destroyed and whatnot. Yeah, we went over and helped and kicked butt and everything like that. But, Europe was the ones really suffering. So it's kind of interesting to watch a British-made film that uses small little bits and pieces of a few clips and scenes of a Nazi propaganda movie in it. Very weird. But anyway, A Night to Remember. See this movie. Oh my God, did I ever love it. I cannot wait to watch it again already. I mean, I would put this right up there with with James Cameron's Titanic. I'd put it right up there with it. It was great. Two completely different movies, bit of a different feel, but still great Titanic love stories. Definitely see this. All right, then I checked out Wishful Drinking. This is a little bit of a Carrie Fisher, I don't want to say stand-up, but basically her just kind of telling stories about her life and how everything kind of went from when she was born to where she is now. And of course, her drug problems and her craziness of her family and everything like that. It was definitely an interesting watch. And if you're a fan of Star Wars, or you're a fan of just Carrie Fisher in general, it's worth checking out. The only thing is I wasn't blown away with Carrie Fisher and the way she told the stories. You kind of tell, this isn't really like her thing. Like, getting up on stage and telling stories about her life isn't quite her thing. She's just sort of doing it, and it works, but it's not done extremely well, in my opinion. Some of the jokes she does falls flat. Just some of the stories just kind of like, just sort of the way everything was kind of set up. I just felt it could have been done better. It just didn't seem to be done perfectly, and it turned me off a little bit from it, I suppose. But regardless, it was interesting. It is worth checking out. It's nothing all that amazing, in my opinion, though. It was just okay. That's all I gotta say. It was just all right. But it was still pretty interesting hearing her talk about her childhood and hearing her talk about her parents. And she goes through this whole spread chart of kind of like a little mini family tree of her family and then all the other people they married. And apparently her daughter and the son of somebody else who was like married to somebody. It's crazy. They're like, at this time anyway, they were like dating and they were trying to figure out if they were related. And she goes through this whole story about how like they all come together at the very end and they're not related, but crazy story, crazy part of the, what do you want to say, the special, whatever you want to call this. It was definitely interesting. So it is worth checking out. I mean, she certainly goes over, talks about Star Wars a bit as well. So it is worth seeing if you're a fan of Carrie Fisher or even just a Star Wars fan in general. It's probably worth checking out, although it's not really Star Wars related. It's just a little bit Star Wars related. I mean, the front with how you think she's talking about Star Wars all the time. That's not the case. She talks about it just a bit, but she certainly goes over it as it was her life. So is it worth checking out? If you're interested, yes. Otherwise, it's nothing really you need to see, in my opinion. All right, but then I watched a movie that I can't physically hold up and show you because I saw this in the theaters, and that was Jurassic World. Yes, went and saw Jurassic World. I actually had like $7.50 off tickets, something like that. I think I paid $2.50 for me and my wife together, $2.50 together to go see the movie. So I was like, that's a good deal because you guys know I'm not a big fan of the movie theaters. I don't like watching a movie with a big crowd that's all noisy and annoying. And why pay like, $15-20 to go see a movie one time when I can just buy it on Blu-ray or 3D Blu-ray, whatever, for like $5-10, something like that. It makes no sense to me. But I really wanted to see the movie. I had the tickets. I was like, let's go. So we went and we saw it, and I loved it. I think most people do. It seems like most people are really digging the movie, and I did as well. What I liked about it was I went into the movie thinking this was going to be like a really serious, okay, they're going to step up their game. They're going to do a really serious Jurassic Park movie now. This, no more goofiness, no more silliness, no more, wacky over the topness. Serious. Not the case. They kind of went back to the first movie, where the first movie certainly was serious. It had its seriousness to it, but it also had its over the top, crazy, like this, like could never in a million years happen type of stuff going on. And they did that in this movie. That's why this movie felt so much like the first movie, where again it was really over the top and so much ridiculousness happened in this film. But they kind of, with a little bit of a serious overtone as well, but not too much that it made it, kind of bland. And I love that. The acting a lot of times was cheesy. The dialogue a lot of times was cheesy. Just the scenes were a lot of times cheesy, and I really enjoyed that because, again, that harkens back to the first movie. The first movie had a lot of cheese in it. I mean, Jeff Goldblum, need I say more? Although I wish he was in this movie. He wasn't. God, if he was in this movie, that would have been amazing. Would have made the movie just, like, perfect. But, need I say more of him in the first movie? I mean, goofy, over the topness. But I love his character so much. That's why I liked I like Lost World, Jurassic Park 2. I love that movie because Jeff Goldblum is in it, and he's fantastic. And I really hope if they do another Jurassic Park movie, I really hope to God Jeff Goldblum's in it. So I really enjoyed it. Thought it was great. I mean, that scene at the end where, the T-Rex is battling... what is the name of that new dinosaur? I forget, but he's battling the big bad new scary hybrid dinosaur at the end. That is badass. That is an amazing scene to see the T-Rex, supposedly the T-Rex from the first movie, come back and battle the big baddie dinosaur. That's awesome. And even watch the dinosaurs kind of team up with each other. Oh my god! And then at the end when they destroy the baddie dinosaur and the T-Rex and the Velociraptor kind of just like nod at each other, like it's hilarious to see the humans and dinosaurs kind of team up. Like they're almost like, yeah, we know we got to team up because we know if we don't take this big bad dinosaur down, we're both screwed. So let's team up and work together as a team. We're talking dinosaurs versus humans. I mean, these are animals. They're not, they don't rationalize like that. And I love they did that. It was, I was laughing at the end of the movie, but in a good way because it was cheesy, but it was awesome. I loved the film. I thought it was great. If you like the first Jurassic, if you didn't like the second and third one, especially the third one was horrible. Second one I liked, but if you didn't like the second and third one, or even you're like me and you like the second one, you didn't like the third one, see Jurassic World. You're gonna love it. It definitely has the same feel as the first movie, and it really works well with the first film. I loved it. Thought it was fantastic. It's ridiculous that they're trying the whole park thing over again, thinking that it's gonna work this time. It's not gonna work. It never does. And I'm interested to see where they might be going with a possible sequel if they do another sequel, because there's a whole subplot of the whole military wanting to take the Velociraptors and kind of use them for like military reasons and whatnot, and even that big bad dinosaur was kind of like a military thing too. They basically want to take these dinosaurs and put them into like military situations to save lives and whatnot, and blah blah blah, and could make for an interesting next movie. We'll see. I don't know. So Jurassic World, check it out. If you're a Jurassic Park fan, you gotta see it. All right. Then, because again I was in a Titanic mood this week, I watched The Unsinkable, Molly Brown. I did not really care for this movie, and I love musicals, especially MGM musicals. I'm a big fan of musicals. Absolutely love them. This one, not so much though. The music, I wasn't blown away by the songs. Some were okay, but it wasn't. This is, if I get the soundtrack, I'm not going to be putting it on my iPod. It wasn't that great. I really didn't enjoy the music in this all that much. My main problem though, the acting was pretty good for the most part. Everybody did a pretty good job. That is, except for Debbie Reynolds right there. I don't necessarily have a problem with Debbie Reynolds or anything like that. I just hate her in this movie. Watching her play Molly Brown, it just, no, way too over the top. And I know Molly Brown was this, bigger than life sort of, character. I understand who she is and who she was. I get it. But in this movie, she just goes a little bit too over the top. And every time she yells, I kind of just want to jump through the screen and just choke her. It was just like ear piercing, like yells. And she was like trying to be all like hillbilly yelling. And it was just bad. It's also, I also went into thinking it was going to be like, a biographical picture. And really this is more kind of like based on the legend of Molly Brown. It's based around her life, sure, but it's more based around kind of the legends of her life, because there are plenty of, Molly Brown stories and tales and legends and whatnot. She's just one of those characters. And I think this movie was more kind of based around that more so than her actual life. I was really hoping for a movie more about her actual life, not so much all the zany tales and stories that, maybe are based in truth, but are greatly exaggerated. I think that's what we're getting here. So I am not really going to recommend this one. I feel bad because usually when I see this MGM musicals, I'm usually saying, see it, it was great. I love that music was fantastic. Acting was great. Love the story, blah, blah. This is one of the few times I got to say, not really. I just was not blown away by this. I just thought it was just very mediocre. I don't see myself ever checking this one out again. I was not blown away. Again, I didn't really care for the music. The story wasn't really what I was hoping for, and Debbie Reynolds was just, yeah, not so good in this movie. So I'm going to say Unsinkable Molly Brown, stay away. Hopefully someday, is there, you guys let me know, is there another, I would really hope that someday we get like a great movie about like the real life movie of the Unsinkable Molly Brown. I would love that. That'd be so fantastic. And to the best of my knowledge, there isn't one. If there is one, clue me in. All right, then a movie I had to watch because you guys told me I had to check this out, and that was Duel. Yeah, I had to see this movie. I love movies about killer trucks. In this case, a killer truck driver, but in his killer truck. It's all about it's such a easy. It's the plot of this movie is so simple and easy. There is a guy driving to a work meeting, and he gets stuck behind this semi truck. It's driving slow. He passes them, goes around him. That's it. You think nothing big. Okay, he passed the truck. Then the truck passes around him, and he's like, "What's up with that?" So then he passes them, and then from there on, now it's a game of cat and mouse, and the game is on. This truck driver is out to terrorize our average highway passenger. He's out to terrorize the ever-loving hell of him, and he does that and does such a great job of terrorizing this guy. I mean, it doesn't even take place on the road the entire time. There are points in the movie where our driver pulls over things like to get gas. He stops at a rest area. I mean, he's stopped here and there, and he's still getting terrorized by this truck driver. I mean, I love when he stops at the gas station and the truck driver pulls up next to him and just, he's there waiting for him to get his gas and him to move on out. Then when they go to the truck stop, he thinks like, this truck kind of passed on. He looks at the window, the truck's there. Now the truck driver is one of the people inside the restaurant. He doesn't know who. He sees all these people wearing, he basically knows the guy's wearing like jeans and a cowboy boot because he saw his legs. That's all he knows. And there's all these people in there wearing jeans and cowboy boots. So he doesn't know any of these people could be the one. He has no idea. He's getting freaked out. Great movie. Very awesome kind of horror / thriller of a movie. I love Duel. This is one you gotta check out. This is great. As it says, Steven Spielberg's directorial debut. So this was a lot of fun. I thought the ending kind of maybe was a little just because it just seemed like the truck driver just kind of got what was coming to him a little too easy. I almost would have kind of liked to see maybe the truck driver like get away or something, like ooh, he's still out there, or I don't know, something. So the ending, I was kind of just like, I didn't hate the ending. I didn't have anything wrong with the ending. I just, I would have done it differently if it was me, but hey, who am I to say? Who am I to judge Steven Spielberg? So this was great, though. Definitely check out Duel. If you just want to see a great movie about a killer truck driver, this one's awesome. This was so much fun and just definitely edge of your seat thriller. So Duel, fantastic. It's one of those movies where you're like, what would I do if I was in that situation? It was great. Another great horror thriller movie I watched, The Legend of Lizzie Borden, starring Elizabeth Montgomery. Yes, Samantha herself. This was another great movie, all about the murders by Lizzie Borden. Of course, did she do them? Did she not do them? In this movie, she did it. It's not like whether she did it or not. In this movie, she did it. I mean, she wasn't accused. She got off with it. I mean, there was a whole court hearing and stuff. She was found not guilty. But in this movie, she's definitely guilty. They show her killing her family and whatnot, and it's great. Elizabeth Montgomery was fantastic in this movie. Absolutely loved her in this film. She was brilliant, and of course, I mean, look at her, just looking beautiful as always. She is just a fantastic, gorgeous woman and looked great in this movie. So there's that. Definitely the eye candy was going on. But also just watching her play, the portrayal of Lizzie Borden, she just did a great job. And one thing I didn't know about Lizzie Borden, at least according to this movie, she was a little kind of schizo. I never heard that. I've seen documentaries on Lizzie Borden before, but I never heard about kind of her kind of little bit of a crazy sort of thing going on. I don't know if that was just for the movie or not, or that was based in some kind of reality. I'm not sure, but that was interesting. I'm going to look into that. So this was fantastic. But interesting thing about this is a made-for-TV movie. This is what, 1975? I don't see a date on here. I believe it was 1975, if I'm not mistaken, when this was aired on TV. I think on CBS. The end of the movie, okay, for those of you who know anything about Lizzie Borden, they kind of come up with the theory that if she did kill her family, since there wasn't like what happened to the bloodstained clothes and whatnot, a lot of people think that she did it in the nude. She just stripped down completely naked, killed her stepmother, killed her father, and then just washed off the blood, which makes sense. It's a good theory. I would say probably how it was done. So they show that in this movie. They show her stripping down and killing her stepmother and father. But there are a couple nip slips. There's even a bush slip. When she gets naked in this movie, she is naked. She's not. It's not like she's wearing something that kind of just makes her look naked. No, she got completely buck naked for this movie. And they show things like she gets naked, and you could see like her naked in like a mirror, like they're showing her from like the back or something like that, and either like the cameras are kind of like right up where her butt would be, or maybe she's like in a shadow or something like that, so she's darkened out. But like you can clearly see her like naked, like in the mirror. I think that happens like twice or something like that. There's a scene where I think she's like I think it was when she's like reaching underneath the bed. There's a nip slip. You see her nipple for like a second. It's only a second, but it's still there, and you think they would cut that out for TV. And I think there's even a scene where she's when she's like has the axe up in the air and she's coming down on her father with the axe. When she lifts up, you can see a little bit of her nipple. And I was like, okay, like, if this was just a movie, I'd be like, whatever, okay, a nip slip here and there, it happens. But this is a made for TV. This aired on TV, and there's nip slips. And there's a scene where she's walking past, and they kind of show like her like, I guess they kind of show like her mid area, but she's in the like kind of like in a shadow, so you can't really see anything other than kind of like her silhouette. But it's not completely dark, so you can still make stuff out. And there's definitely a quick shot of her bush. There's a bush slip in this. I mean, we're not talking just nip slips, we're talking bush slips too. I'm thinking to myself, made for TV movie. That's kind of odd. Again, if this was something in theaters, I really wanted to question that. I would have been, it is what it is, and that happens. But when it comes to TV, I mean, you can't show that kind of stuff on TV. Apparently in 1975, I guess, little nip slips and bush slips were okay. I don't know. They definitely happen in this movie though, which is really interesting. But anyway, that was just something weird I noticed I had to bring up. I was kind of like, made for TV movie? What? That seems odd. But this was great. I absolutely loved this film. I love just the story of Lizzie Borden and just in general. It's a great story. But Elizabeth Montgomery did a fantastic job in this. See this movie. It was brilliant. I loved it. I'll watch it again. It was fantastic. All right. And then last but not least here, we have season 3, the lost episodes of Sifl and Olly. I've been listening to my Sifl and Olly CD for a while now. Unfortunately, the guys behind this, it was siflandolly.com. It's not around anymore, unfortunately, but they used to sell merchandise. They had like a season 1 CD, and then they put out season 3 because it's an MTV show. Sifl and Olly was a fantastic. See, MTV they actually had a couple good shows back in the day. This was one of them. I love Sifl and Olly. This is a great show, and it is a sock puppet show, but it's hilarious and extremely funny. And at siflandolly.com, they sold season 3 because season 3 was just episodes they did for MTV.com. It only lasted 2 seasons on actual TV, and then they did a 3rd season just at MTV.com. So I guess they had the rights to that somehow, and they could put it out. Apparently, season 1 and season 2 were owned by MTV. They couldn't release it, and we'll probably never see it, unfortunately. I mean, it'd be great if we did. I'm not holding my breath though. But I love this show. I used to watch it all the time. Even back in the day, when I was very much like, screw MTV. Like, I hated MTV. I never watched MTV because I was, back in my like super punk rock days during high school, where I was just all like, you can't watch it MTV crap, all that crappy pop music and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I was being all like a rebel and stuff, and it was stupid, but whatever. This was the one time I actually tuned in to MTV. When this show was on, I watched, because this show was amazing, extremely funny, had me cracking up laughing all the time. I love Sifl and Olly. Like I said, I've been listening to my season 1 CD a lot in the car recently. I was like, man, I gotta sit down and watch my season 3 DVD. It's been a while since I checked this out, so I popped it in. Just as good as always. Fantastic. Extremely, extremely, extremely funny. Sifl and Olly is brilliant. If you've never seen Sifl and Olly, go on YouTube. I'm sure you're probably on YouTube right now after you get done watching this video. Do a search for Sifl and Olly. It's Sifl and Olly. Sifl and Olly. Do a search for them. Watch some of the skits. I'm sure some of the full episodes maybe you can even find. Watch them. They're funny. For a sock puppet show, kind of sounds ridiculous. It's brilliant. Just the comedy in it is fantastic. And also it's accompanied by tons of music. Every episode has a bunch of different songs in it. And the songs are really good too. They're very funny songs, but they're great. I don't see parodies, but you know, they'll have like a new wave song and a country song and a rock song. You know, they sound like those types of songs, but they're like funny songs, and they're really, really done well. Some of you guys may remember the song, was it My United States or whatever. Like this show was out when I was in high school, and then all of a sudden, like 3, 4, 5 years later, when I'm in college, all of a sudden on the radio I hear My United States whatever, and that song was like a little bit of a hit for a while. Like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, for like a couple months, that song was like a little hit on the radio, and I was like, where is this coming from? That song's like 5 years old or something like that, from an old MTV show that most people I talk to are like, who the hell's Sifl and Olly? And now all of a sudden the song's got a little mini hit. I don't know. So some of you might remember that song. I don't know. The video, that song had a video, is actually on this DVD. So Sifl and Olly, fantastic, extremely funny. I love it. Big fan. If you haven't seen them, check them out. So, all right, guys, there you go. That's it. That's everything that I've recently been checking out. So lots of good stuff. Like I said, I'm going to recommend pretty much everything for the most part. Like I said, Unsinkable Molly Brown, though, I'd have to say probably not. That wasn't all that good. Wishful Drinking, that's only something I'd say check out if you're really interested in seeing something, you know, kind of hearing about the life of Carrie Fisher, hearing her talk about her life. And the 1953 Titanic, you know, it was good. I would recommend seeing it, but it wasn't, you know, it's kind of one of those things like, if you don't want to, if you're not interested in seeing it, then you don't necessarily need to. But I'd like you to remember you should check out. That was great. So, absolutely loved it. Oh, so good. And Jurassic World was great too. So, all right, guys, there you go. For real this time, that is it. So, like I always say, thank you guys so much for checking this video out. Simply just by watching this video, that means the absolute world to me. I really appreciate your support. But of course, you can also show your support by simply liking this video, by clicking that little thumbs up tab. It takes 2 seconds, and it means the absolute world to me. I'd really appreciate that also. And of course, you can subscribe. I do a brand new daily sickness video every single day, plus other bonus videos for you guys as well, just as extra added fun. But you will at least see one new video from me every single day if you hit that subscribe button. And also, if you're watching us on YouTube, down below in the description, there's some links, things to like my Patreon account where you can pledge a monthly donation to help support the show. There's a link to Spreadshirt where you can purchase yourself a Cinema Sickness hat, a Cinema Sickness t-shirt. This is one of 16 different designs you can choose from. There's Cinema Sickness buttons and hoodies, tank tops, baby gear, kids gear, women's gear, satchel. I have like cup coasters and mugs and all kinds of stuff with the Cinema Sickness logo splattered all over it, free to pick up if you feel ever so inclined and want to get some of that. Also, there's the usuals, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow me on all those as well. And if you're on Listia and you're on eBay, I got my Listia and eBay pages up there as well, so you can follow me on those also. And if you're watching us over at cinemasickness.com, all those same very exact links are right above you, right under the Cinema Sickness logo. You'll see a bunch of icons. Click on any of those icons. I'll take you all to those websites as well. And if you're watching us on YouTube and you're not over at cinemasickness.com, down below there is a link to that as well. Click on that, head over there, check it out. There's a lot more to see there than just these videos. I post all kinds of stuff over there, all kinds of other posts, more so than just these videos, but there's all kinds of things to check out. My FAQ page, my collections listed there, what I'm watching, all kinds of stuff, and also Team Sickness is there as well. If you like my videos, you're going to love the videos from Team Sickness. All I got to do at cinemasickness.com is click on the Team Sickness tab, check out all the great collection updates, reviews, whatnot, all the great videos from those guys and gals. Again, if you like what I do, you like what they do, and I'm sure they would definitely appreciate your support, so check them out. So, all right, guys, there you go. Again, that is it, and thank you so much for watching. So, again, hope you guys are having a fantastic Thursday, and I'll see you tomorrow on, yes, TGIF Friday. Well, it really wouldn't be TGI Friday, because that'd be, thank God it's Friday. So, TGI Friday? Anyway, I'll see you then, guys. Have a great day. Bye.